All right, guys, चलिए. So start करते हैं. So we have one of our alumnus and one of our guests जो हमारी previously student रह चुकी है, Miss Kajal. So Kajal cleared her CLAT 2021 and got into the top-notch NLU of our country, nlsui Bangalore, right? तो आप लोग जब अभी इस समय आप लोग सब प्रिपरेशन के स्टेज में है, there are lot of doubts की प्रिपरेशन कैसे करनी चाहिए, what should be our strategy. CLAT 21 के लिए we have almost around 3 months and 22 next year है. तो कौन से सेक्शंस हैं, कितने सेक्शन में कितना फोकस हमको करना है, what is importance of mock test, taking mock test, उसका एनालिसिस कितना इंपॉर्टेंट है. रीडिंग हैबिट के बारे में हम लोग बहुत बार बात करते रहते हैं, तो रीडिंग हैबिट कितना इंपॉर्टेंट है, कौन से न्यूज़पेपर को हमको रेफर करना चाहिए, किस तरह के टॉपिक्स को रेफर करने चाहिए, इस तरह के जो भी कोई डाउट्स हैं. सो वी हैव काजल ऑन बोर्ड. सो काजल, टू यू.
Thank you so much, sir, for the deep introduction. So hello, everyone. I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you on behalf of the entire FoolsDen fraternity. It's a pleasure to talk to you all, interact with you all. And at the outset, I'd also like to thank our amazing mentors and the entire FoolsDen team for giving me the opportunity to speak here and interact with you all. It's a pleasure to be here, especially given the grim situation in the entire country. Thank you so much for joining us, especially on a Sunday afternoon. So yeah, thanks a lot. So I think we can proceed with the session, isn't it, sir?
So Kajal, I think you should start with your preparation strategy.
Okay, all
like
right.
You started your preparation in the month of March,
yeah,
right? So what all steps did you take? You should tell us that.
Yeah, so we were like one of the fortunate batches in the country, I'd say, because last year, as you all know, that there was this whole havoc and very confusing situation going on with like frequent postponements of the exam. But we actually never thought of it. Firstly, we actually never took it in a negative way. So yeah, of course, there was this discouragement that was going on that was actually associated with the whole postponement thing. But I think we all we as FoolsDen students and actually FoolsDen played a big role in keeping us motivated and very consistent with our studies. So I personally started my preparation only after my boards got over, that is in March. So I never I actually started with preparing with the new pattern itself. So I still remember when I first gave my mock, it was a FoolsDen mock itself, and I got such a terrible score. I almost started crying, and I felt like what is this happening? Because all my GK questions were wrong. I was terrible at the quantitative technique section. So it was very disappointing to see my first mock score, and I still remember it because that was like something that actually gave me a boost. So from that I started with her. Like that terrible score gave me a head start, and I spoke to myself that what, we need to do this. This is like this. I've got time because of the lockdown, and I need to use it as productively as possible. And so first of all, it's very important to give your first mock score and read about it, because definitely you're going to get like really terrible marks in your first mock score. And think about what are your strong points and what are your weak points, right? So when I first gave my mock score, I went through, because like FoolsDen, the mocks are so well curated that you get really good analysis of what is your score, how much time exactly, how many seconds exactly you spent on each question, which is brilliant, right? So I think that it's very important to analyze those stuff in a very in a very sorted manner. So I went through my entire mock paper, like after that we get after the mock. So I realized that I had like GK and maths as I think a lot of people will resonate with me on this, that GK and maths was something that I was really bad at, and I figured it out very immediately, because my scores, I remember my GK score was was a single digit number, and I was scared to look at it because the score was terrible, right? So GK, which is one of the sections that carries the most marks, I was terrible at it. And maths, another section which actually can give you marks very easily, because like you don't really need to spend a lot of time on it, right? So again, I was terrible at it. But on the positive note, I saw that I was really good at the legal reasoning and the logical reasoning section. And so this is the sort of analysis I first did on my first mock. And I think this is very important, because then you can work on the areas that you're not really good at, right? So I knew that GK is something that I need to work on, and I can actually like keep the flow with legal reasoning, because I'm good at it. I'm decent at it. So I don't really need to pay that much heed to legal reasoning or logical reasoning as much as I need to do for current affairs or GK, or given the math section that I was not really good at. So this analysis is something that is the first stepping stone. That should be the first stepping stone. And I believe, since you've been all like in connection with FoolsDen and our amazing mentors, you must have like given your first mocks already, and you must have analyzed it, I believe. Yeah. So I think the analysis part is the first stepping stone. Yeah.
So Kajal, can you throw some light on the importance of reading habit or newspaper reading?
Yeah, so fortunately enough for me, I've always been an avid reader. Like I've loved reading novels and fiction, but I've been a fiction reader all my life. So reading newspapers, as I think again majority will agree with me on this, that reading newspaper is a taxing task. We all can agree to this. And like waking up early in the morning at 7 a.m. and reading newspaper for like 2 hours straight. So when I first started, I thought, no, today so I'll read like the entire thing. आज तो मैं पूरा पढ़ने वाली हूँ. I'm going to like literally mug up the newspaper. But it literally took me 2.2 to 2.5 hours to complete the whole newspaper, right? Even after the fact that I was already like into reading. So I can totally understand that for people, but for students who are not that interested into reading, it's a much more of like a hectic task. So I think my recommendation on this would be that, yes, reading newspapers is definitely important, and a lot of people are there who actually enjoy reading newspapers. But for me, my personal motto in life is that don't do anything you don't enjoy, right? So if you, because it's not going to make sense to you. So if you don't enjoy reading newspaper, there are a lot of alternatives given the internet world that we live in. So there are a lot of amazing amazing magazines and amazing news sites that you can refer to. So personally, I for the current affairs, I definitely try to. So we actually had some YouTube sessions where we did newspaper reading live on YouTube, and those sessions were amazing. So those helped to inculcate sort of like a little bit of interest and came to reading newspapers. But that also didn't help really matter a lot, because I was like not really attracted to reading newspapers from the start. So what I did was I went to alternatives. I actually thought of some alternatives. So one alternative that I used was this website called Byju's. So that was my go-to website for the current affairs stuff. So it's actually meant for IAS preparation, UPSC preparation. So it's a bit loaded, but they have this one section called comprehensive news analysis. They call it CNA in short. So I think those stuff that it's actually already curated, right? It's already filtered for you, so you don't really have to go through this meter long newspaper to actually get stuff what is important, because a lot of stuff in newspapers are not that important from competitive paper point of view. You actually need to skim through those and actually need to filter out what exactly is important when it comes to like exams like CLAT or STAT or AILET, right? So that actually takes a lot of your time. Curating those or filtering those sections takes a lot of your time. So if you want to save on that time, save your that time, and you can use it for some other stuff, then you can actually go to sites like Byju's IAS, which provide you already curated material like this comprehensive news analysis. And there are again amazing magazines like the Caravan magazine, the Quint, and we have the Economic and Political Weekly. So all these websites are actually amazing. All these databases are amazing, and I think it's a wise decision to use these instead of reading whole newspaper, if not into reading newspaper. Yeah.
Right. So Kajal, many of our aspirants, they have been preparing for past 1 year. and कुछ लोगों ने इस साल join किया. So many of them ask कि sir, how to keep ourselves motivated? What should be the factors which will motivate us? So please add something on it.
Yeah, so I totally understand that. I've actually been in your shoes, right? So last year the situation was no different, guys. Like I know that this year the situation is even more horrible, but last year also we saw so many postponements, and then the whole NLAT havoc. I know that you guys are aware of it. So I actually literally had nightmares about whether I'm going to get into a university or not, So I totally understand where the current aspirants are coming from. So I think, yeah, as Shreya sir rightly mentioned, that keeping yourself motivated is actually, I'd say it's the most important thing, because consistency is something that is going to serve you well in any competitive exams, right? So each day, if you see that, these competitive exams are stuff that are very dynamic in nature. That means the game can change any day, right? So if one day you slack off, there are thousands of students who are going to get ahead of you because they studied that extra one day, right? And that's how all the competitive exams work. So therefore consistency is like definitely very, very important. So one thing I used to do is, of course, it's Mother's Day today again. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. So it's Mother's Day again today. So I'd like to mention my mom. She's always been my inspiration. So I remember every time I used to get a very bad score at mock, in a mock test, I used to run to my mom and say to her, "Oh my God, Mama, मेरे को आज बहुत गंदे marks मिले. What am I supposed to do?" And she's like, she just said one thing, that you know what, इस बार नहीं आया, अगली बार आ जाएगा. Just keep studying. That's the only thing you can do, right? So yeah, it's all about keeping yourself near to your dear ones, and interacting with them as much as possible, and also talk to your friends. I think Fusion is an amazing space where you can actually make certain new friends. Some brilliant minds from various states are here. So I think we should definitely use this opportunity to make new friends, interact, and of course, how can I forget the amazing and super cool mentors that we have at FoolsDen? They have always been a constant source of inspiration for me.
And I wanted to interrupt, but you didn't mention that point that you used to go through the videos of NLSI.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, I actually watched a lot of YouTube videos. So just go on YouTube and search NLSIU, and you'll get a lot of videos related to NLSIU. So the campus is so beautiful. I actually used to watch like before every mock, or even I remember even on the D day before, like the actual CLAT exam, I watched it two or twice or thrice, I believe. Yeah, so that was a constant source of motivation, that music, it gets into your soul, and you just realize, you actually imagine yourself being there, standing in front of the gate of NLSIU. And if you can do that, that definitely it attracts you towards itself, and you'll strive towards perfection. Then definitely that's a great motivation, source of motivation. Yeah.
So Kajal, I think now we should go on to open house, right? So guys, if anyone कोई questions हो, कोई queries हो, you can directly ask to Kajal.
How many hours do you used to study for?
Yeah, Hriday is saying something. Yeah.
How many hours did you study for CLAT exams?
Yeah, so it was a whole lockdown situation, and I did not have like anything else to do apart from studying for CLAT. So it was a very dynamic routine. But I think on an average, I'd say like 6 to 8 hours probably, and that too excluding the mocks, right? Because mocks take a lot of your time, and I think it was like it actually depended on which day of the week we are talking about. Because on the weekdays, that is from Monday to Thursday, Monday to Friday, I used to spend a lot of time with our mentors, like attending the sessions. And after that, I used to like read the monthly magazine, that is Catalyst, and also read other stuff, just random stuff here and there, as to like just hone my skin, right? Hone my skills, right? And on the weekends, I used to give a lot of mocks. So weekends were all about mocks for me. So I remember one of the weekends, I was so very anxious about whether I'm going to get into a university or not. I actually ended up giving 3 mocks on a single weekend. So that's actually each mock of 2 hours, it actually counts up, adds up to 6 hours, which is a lot of time just for like sitting in front of your screen. So yeah, it varied, but on an average, it was 6 to 8 hours.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else? Yeah, Nidhi, please go on.
Adi, I was asking that how did you ace your critical reasoning session?
Yeah,
Because
okay.
it's quite difficult. Currently, I'm facing a lot of issues about, critical reasoning. I'm not getting on it.
Yeah, right. I do understand that. So, the critical reasoning, logical reasoning section, for me personally, it was all about the practice part, because there's no way, I think there's no shortcut to that section. It's all about practice. So those sitting questions you had, like those chair questions and all of that. So it is, and I think the very important thing in all of these sections is to enjoy what you're solving, right? So enjoy, imagine yourself being a part of that question. Enjoy that you are one of the persons sitting on that table, and think about what the question is asking, is demanding from you. So that is the first part, enjoying it. And of course, if you enjoyed it, definitely you're going to practice as much as possible. So there are a lot of so FoolsDen also provides you a lot of like questions and stuff, and online also there are a lot of mocks available, and sample past year papers available. So just go and like pick a question and just keep solving it, and solve it type wise, like so in your
Yeah, there are types
initial,
of questions like in logical
right.
reasoning as well.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
like
but
pick it up.
actually, logical reasoning, I understand that practicing will make me ace the session. But the concept of critical reasonings, like I find it difficult. Critical reasoning part. Well, logical reasoning, mein jo verbal wala question, that is I understand that requires practice. But the critical reasoning, I'm finding difficult.
Actually,
Yeah,
Kajal, Nidhi wants to say that in critical reasoning, we have a whole lot of different concept in every question.
Yeah, right.
Right,
Yes,
Nidhi?
yes, exactly. Yes, exactly.
That she's asking. How
Yeah.
to cater that type of questions.
Yeah, so it's essentially an amalgamation of like, one question is an amalgamation of like different concepts, right? So I think one thing that can be done here is first go and like practice that particular one of, just pick up one of those concepts and practice that, and step by step try to be good, like become as good as possible in each of those concepts, and ultimately try to combine them, those concepts together, and use it in that question. So I think that is one way you can go through. And again, it's all about practice. I think whether we talk about critical reasoning or logical reasoning,
I want to add something, Kajal, here.
Yes.
Nidhi, if you are facing such type of difficulty in critical reasoning, first of all, you should do one thing. You should go through abruptly 50 to 100 questions, right? Then you will realize that every way, either or that, you have a different type of concept, right? So solving those 100, 200 questions, you will get to know, you'll develop an instinct that is tarah ka question I have solved like this only, right? You just don't solve it. After attempting that question, you should also go through the analysis of that particular question. Okay? I want to say that like reading comprehension, whenever we solve it, जब एक known article को when we go through it, right? And when it comes in mock, you will observe that you are doing better in that type of question. Same goes for this thing. You should just abruptly go through 100, 200 questions, and also go through the GMAT pattern questions. That will definitely help, right? Basically, we have to develop an instinct, and that comes through this practice. Like Kajal said, you have to practice a lot. That is practice, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, I understood that.
All right. Yeah, anyone else? Yes, Swastik, Parth is one of our brilliant students. Yes, Parth, any questions?
So I have a question.
Yeah, Vanshika, please.
Sir, I wanted to ask how did she analyze her tests?
Kajal, analysis
Yeah.
of your mock test.
Yes, sir. So 2-hour tests, 2-hour or even like 3-hour analysis. That's what our mentors told us when I was, preparing for for CLAT 2020. So yeah, the analysis part is even more important than actually giving the test. So what was my strategy on this? Is that I believe sir abhi bhi aap log doubt hearing sessions lete hain, right? Yeah, so those are really helpful. So that was like the brahmastra for me, I'd say, because I used to bug the teachers a lot with my questions ki sir ye nahi samajh aa raha hai. So just go through. So what I used to do is ki so legal reasoning may is it's not that like you cannot really. So legal reasoning is something that actually, 'cause sometimes the questions seem to be very easy. So I'll go section by section, right? So starting with legal reasoning. So the question seems to be like very easy, but sometimes the question seems to be very like tricky and ambiguous and arbitrary, right? So in that situation, you need to ask the mentor, go to the mentor and bug them and ask them that why is it it's being solved this certain way, because there's definitely a principle behind the way it is solved, right? So there might be a thing that you're not aware of, the principle, that the legal principle that is being applied in that question. So just go to the mentors and ask them. So that is that. Coming to the quantitative technique section, I was terrible at maths. I've always been terrible at maths. Although I'm a PCM economics student, but I was like, I was not at all good at all at maths. But again, I think when it comes to quantitative reasoning, I don't think there's a lot of analysis to do because it's like calculations, right? So you can actually just see where have you done a mistake, where have you made a mistake in calculation, or could it have another thing to see in the quantitative techniques section is that is there a way that would have helped you to solve that particular question in a lesser amount of time, because time is the game changer in all of the competitive exams, but more particularly so in CLAT or like all the law prep examinations, right? So just think about, even if you've got that question right, think about or ask the teachers about, is there, or but if it has taken you like 2 minutes or 3 minutes, then do ask their mentors, is there another way, is there an alternative way that could have like helped me solve this question in a shorter span of time. Coming to the logical reasoning section, again it's very important to bug your mentors, like do ask them why is this question being solved a certain way. And then when it comes to GK, I think GK is again, there's not much analysis to do here, because you actually need to know stuff in GK, then only you can solve it. So GK is a section that actually carries the most number of marks, but you can, if you are well versed with the current affairs, and you can actually solve it in 5 to 10 minutes. So you get to score 38 to 40 marks in like 5 to 10 minutes, right? So this is something you need to evaluate. This time to marks ratio is something that you need to analyze really properly, that in 20 seconds or in 10 seconds, how many marks am I scoring in a test. So that is an analysis that I used to do, that in which are the sections that are actually eating up my time and not giving me that much marks, right? So GK was one of the sections that I realized that, you know, if I do well in GK or improve my current affairs skill, then it's a section which can actually give me 38 to 40 marks. Like that's the maximum score. It can actually give me like 30 to 32 marks if I'm taking the like the low I mean an average performance, then it can actually give me that much marks in merely 5 to 10 minutes, right? So, and that's it also doesn't involve a lot of reading, so it takes a lesser time. So I think funda is very important to actually measure what's the proportion of your marks with as compared to the time you're spending on that particular question.
Did you follow any additional resources?
Yeah, so additional resources, I think for current affairs, I actually worked a lot with my current affairs, because as I told, it was a single digit number in my first mock test. So apart from the Catalyst FoolsDen that provides, I use the Byju's app, like Byju's website, and I used to read it really like frequently. I like actually use it. I read it daily, if I remember correctly. So that was one. The Byju's website, it's an amazing website. You can actually, so it's a little loaded because it's meant for UPSC aspirants, but it's well loaded, right? And if you are someone like me who's actually aiming to go into the administrative services, then I think a little bit of extra reading can actually go a long way. So there's no harm in that if you are reading a little extra from what is expected of you. So Byju's one was one, and there are also a lot of like these articles that you get, which are opinionated pieces. So these you can get from two sources. First is the of course a newspaper where we have editorial pieces. So if you see CLAT 2020, and one thing that you so that if you have solved the CLAT 2020 paper, one thing that you all will notice is that it does one-liners are going to be no good for the current affairs section. So literally, we were shocked when we gave an exam because CLAT 2020 actually asked questions which were sort of more aligned towards opinions, right? It actually dealt with opinionated pieces. So those students who read those such opinionated pieces like the editorials in newspapers, or you have certain websites like I mentioned already, like the EPW, the Economic Political Weekly is an amazing website where you actually get like in-depth view of what's happening in the economy, what's happening in the polity of the country. And apart from that, the Caravan magazine, the Quint, all these like websites, I can actually provide a list of these magazines that I still read, even after being in college. Our professors recommend these websites to us, and they say that even like they actually tell us that if you have juniors, do tell them that these are some of the websites they can refer to. So I'll actually give a link to all of these websites, Shreyasan, if that works. So
Sure.
yeah, so I'll provide a link with I'll just make a spreadsheet or something, and I'll give the link to you.
Okay, and just for current affairs or other subjects as well, you referred additional sources.
I think it was personally just current affairs because I was not really good at it, and also a little bit of maths because so I used to actually solve my basic maths from like my 10th NCRT and stuff because I needed to brush up with my basics because I was really bad at maths, and I'm actually now also I'm very bad at maths. So if you are not clear with your basics, you can just refer to your NCRT books for maths. And also I think a lot of like maths question papers are there, and random questions you can find on the internet. So maths for that I use like maths, a little bit of external sources was used. But when it comes to legal reasoning and logical reasoning, I don't think I actually used any external sources because these two sections are again about logical reasoning particularly is about practice, right? So external sources in the sense so I actually solved all of the those booklets that the coaching provides. And apart from that, I actually our mentors provide us with new questions every session. And apart from that, you can actually refer to a lot of stuff is available on the internet. Solve the past year papers, they do help, like they definitely help, and you get an idea of what the D-Day exam looks like. And timing yourself is like of utmost important. If you're taking a paper, if anything you're solving, even if it's like just 2 or 3 paragraphs, just time yourself and see, is it taking you 10 or 20 minutes to just read a paragraph, a small paragraph, or are you able to do it in just 2 or 3 minutes? So again, like I'd like to mention one of my friends here, Ojas Chandanya. You might so he's also in analyst with me, and he's also the alumni of FoolsDen. And that guy actually used to actually take a regular speed reading test. So he actually improved his reading speed from, I think, somewhere from 220 or 230 to like 360 or something, 340 or something. So that is like a constant check that you need to take, right? So yeah, it goes like that. Yeah.
Thank you.
How did you manage your 12th standard and CLAT together?
Yeah, so I'd be completely honest with you all. I did not face this dilemma personally because I started preparing only after my boards ended. The lockdown situation was had like a little silver lining with it for me personally, because I did not had to face this dilemma of whether I should read for my boards or whether I should read for CLAT exams. And I think now also it's kind of a similar situation. For 10th, the exams are cancelled, but for 12th, it's like still a hanging sword. It's still like in on the verge of postponement and stuff. So if you guys are facing the dilemma, one advice is that boards. Yeah, boards are like very important. Do not like neglect your boards. But I think it's all about time management, right? And make priority lists. Like I'm a very old school person, so I make these, like I have a very like sorted diary where I actually make daily goals, right? So make two sections in those in that diary, in whatever you write, make a Word document or like a checklist or any app that you use. Make two sections in it. Make one for your CBSE boards and sorry, whatever board you are giving, and the other one for your CLAT exam, and try to distribute it as equally as possible, because boards are something that you've been preparing since like so it's actually in our veins, right? Preparation for boards is something that have been that is actually a cumulative result of your 12 years of schooling. So you can actually manage it with your CLAT exam really well if just you have this habit of making priority list, and just trying to. And also one thing you can do is that give your weekdays for like give most of the time of your weekdays for boards, because yeah, definitely it's important. And you can like keep the weekends for the CLAT prep, but also like try reading continuously, because reading is something that goes. So there are certain sections that go well for both CBSE and I mean go well for both your board preparation and go well for your law prep preparation also. Like reading is a part of that. So like even if you are preparing, trying to speed read, or if you're trying to improve your reading skills, so that is also going to help you in your CBSE or in the long run, right? So try to inculcate these kind of habits, yeah, and making priority lists again.
I
What
want
are
to add
board
something.
exams?
Rita, just a second. I want to add something here. Kajal, what she said, actually you can follow 7:3 ratio, right? We always tell our students and aspirants that whatever your time you get for your studies, divide it into 7:3 parts. 7 parts for your board exams and 3 parts for your CLAT if you are preparing for 1 year program, right? What she said is like that only. Okay. All right.
But our boards don't matter for our admission, right?
Sorry.
Like our 12th standards marks don't matter for our admission.
Doesn't matter with that, but
But you need to pass actually.
You have got a lot of pressure from your school.
I think 60% is the cutoff,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
If you go to
yeah.
the CLAT.
Yeah, that's the lower limit.
Right.
So I think all of you are brilliant students, you definitely can score that much, but please don't like look at the lower limit, because that's the last thing you should do. Boards are also an important part. They definitely don't matter in the long run, but you never know, because given the whole situation that the world is going through, we never know when we run out of jobs, or like when we run out of employment opportunities. So it's important to keep your record like as brilliant as possible. So focus on your words too. Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Sir, I want to ask something, sir.
I think
Yes,
Swastik
sir.
has raised his hand. Yes, Swastik, please go.
Yes, sir. How did you manage to learn all the magazines?
Swastik, we didn't get your question. Can you repeat?
Like legal magazines?
Mm-hmm.
How did you manage to learn the legal magazines?
Acha, he's
Yeah.
asking, how did you learn legal maxims? Right, Swastik?
Yeah.
Yeah. Please, Kajal.
Mm-hmm. So there's two. So my strategy on this was twofold. Firstly, I'd like to give a little like caveat here that all these tips that I'm giving you guys is something that have worked for me, but it's not important. It's not like certain that these are going to work for you, because everyone's reading style, everyone's studying style is very different, right? So it's just a little caveat. So going on to my strategy, what I used to do, so I have this tiny little whiteboard at my home that I keep on my window. I actually sit in front of the window. So I actually place that whiteboard in front of my window, and I actually wrote like those maxims on that whiteboard, and I used to recite them. So maxims was like a very difficult part for me. So actually I used it that way. I wrote it on my whiteboard. I kept it in front of my eyes, so you're like looking at it continuously. And the second way is to use it in a scenario, right? So just take a maxim and think about, so actually you of course you are going to get the translation of the magazine and you understand that what's happening, but to learn it or to memorize it, don't mug it up. Instead, just try to fit it in a certain situation, right? So what happens is that, and these magazines are something that are going to be with you in part of academics, be a part of your academic curriculum, even after you have completed your exam. So in taught law, so I just finished my first trimester a few months back. So we had taught law in taught law 1, we had a lot of magazines. So yeah, it does help. So it's a good idea to actually invest some time in learning those. So definitely twofold strategy for that.
Thank you, Kajal. Yeah. Anyone else?
Sir, I want to ask something, sir.
Aditya, right? Please.
Yes.
Aditya, can you please turn on your camera?
Yes, sir. Sure. मैम मैं पूछना चाहता हूँ कि मैं पीसीएम लेके पढ़ रहा हूँ, लेकिन मैं अपना करियर ऑप्शन चूज करने में थोड़ा देर कर दिया है। तो क्या मैं अपने 12 के बाद से मैं अपना प्रिपरेशन स्टार्ट करने का डिसीजन ले चुका हूँ, तो क्या आपके सजेशन है?
Yeah, all right. First of all, Aditya, please make a ma'am mat boliye. I'm also like a student right now, so please don't put me on a pedestal. Don't call me ma'am. You can call me Kajal. Answering your question, Aditya, I think मेरे हिसाब से मैं भी एक PCM student थी. So I was also a PCM economics student, and अगर आप मेरी journey भी देखें, तो I also decided to do law after my boards only. मैंने भी boards के बाद ही सोचा I have to like choose law only. Like I actually thought of it a lot earlier, but like I took steps, I executed it only after my, like I started my preparation only after my boards. So definitely. And one thing, Aditya, मैं आपको बताना चाहूंगी कि, and this is for all of you guys, prepare for law prep exams only if you love law and you love the practice of law, right? So मैं आपको बताना चाहूंगी, Aditya, so this is my experience. I've been through almost 2 trimesters now. That is, we have trimester system in NLS. Trimester का मतलब हमारे यहाँ 3 महीने का exam, like एक session होता है, and then we have exams and terms, and then 1 month की छुट्टी. तो ट्राइमेस्टर सेशन में अभी 2 ऑलमोस्ट, ये मेरा सेकंड ट्राइमेस्टर चल रहा है, मेरा सेकंड ट्राइमेस्टर ऑलमोस्ट कंप्लीट होने वाला है. तो मेरा एक्सपीरियंस इसमें ये रहा है कि if you don't love law, please don't be here, because this is something that is very demanding. अभी जब हम लोग पढ़ते हैं, so I'm sure कि ये सिर्फ NLS में नहीं है, ये actually काफी सारे NLUs में भी है. हम लोग को लगभग पूरे दिन का, मैं अभी ऑनलाइन गिविंग ऑनलाइन क्लासेस, मैं अभी लगभग 18 घंटे अपने लैपटॉप के सामने बैठ के गुजारती हूँ सिर्फ पढ़ते हुए. So that is something you can do only if you love the practice of law and love law. So you just don't have to love in the sense that, you enjoy reading about stuff, because law is something that is not like that. It's a very dynamic field and it involves a lot of spheres. So इसमें आपको philosophy मिलेगी, इसमें आपको economics मिलेगा, इसमें आपको like morality मिलेगी. So it involves, it's a very exhaustive list. It's a very umbrella term, law. So do it only if you love law. So that's my only advice to you, Aditya. So अगर आपको लग रहा है कि yes, this is something I want to do, and मैं अपनी community में, and please have a purpose behind why you are doing it. So for me, it's for my community. So I really want to, like, I actually belong to the tribal community, and I really want to do something for my community because it has. So this is a fact, guys. I'll try to like make it, but अभी तक हमारे सुप्रीम कोर्ट में कभी भी कोई भी शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब का इंसान जज नहीं बना है. अभी तक हमारे सुप्रीम कोर्ट में कभी CJI को विमेन नहीं रही है. So why is this? So think about these questions and have that purpose in your mind. So whenever you are choosing a career, it's very important to firstly love what you're doing. Be interested, because तभी आप 18 घंटे एक कंप्यूटर के सामने बैठ पाएंगे. वरना if you don't love it and you're just doing it for the placement or for the money, then definitely you'll not be able to like go through all of this hectic schedule. So please just keep that in mind and have a purpose behind whatever you are doing. yeah, that's my only advice.
Thank you.
Okay, Di, I had a question. May I ask? Yeah. So
Yeah,
actually, I was asking that CLAT is a national level examination, and we have examination for various local colleges as well, right? So what's the difference between NLU and the local colleges? Do they really make difference, or something like that? You can just give a brief explanation.
Yeah, so it's a very interesting question. Thank you so much, Nidhi, for that question. So yeah, guys, so this is for all of you guys again. कि आप मेरे को जरूरी नहीं है कि क्लैट प्रेप के बारे में पूछे. I have been in LS for 3 months and आप मेरे को पूछ सकते हैं कि मेरा experience कैसा रहा है, just like Nidhi just asked. So I think one of the differences that I see here, being a part of NLS, is the quality of faculty. So we have professors here that are professional in their field. Matlab, when you study from Della, you feel like you are studying in one of the top NLUs in the country. So the faculty is something that really matters. So even so, the faculty is so that like so we have like some amazing faculty from all over the country, and most of them are like doctorates. Like most of them are like super experienced and have been teaching for 30 to 40 plus years. So you can actually imagine ki itna experience they have with the teaching, in the teaching field. So मैंने ये चीज notice की है कि if you are actually learning from those professors, you feel like कि आप कितना भी मुश्किल concept क्यों ना, even if you're studying like like a very difficult concept, they break it down really nicely. And the method of study, so this was the faculty part. The faculty part is very different because you don't get such brilliant faculty in like private colleges or other colleges in the country. So yeah, of course there are exceptions, but यहाँ पे you get the whole package of amazing faculty, right? And second is the teaching style. So for us, अभी तो online में थोड़ा problem होता है, of course, that's given. But हमारी classes, it's not very like it's not monotonous, it's not boring. And हम लोग I'll like to share like a short glimpse of what our classes look like. So in one of our classes, I remember last year हम लोग का sociology 1 का course था trimester, first trimester में. So our professor Dr. Rahul Chorahuri, his name is Dr. Rahul Chorahuri, such a brilliant professor, guys. So he actually showed us an amazing documentary. So it's just not like कि एक जन कोई बोल रहा है बाकी लोग बस सुन रहे हैं, कोई स्क्रीन के सामने सो रहा है. It's not like that. Of course people do sleep, but it's very interactive. Like it's not just like lectures. There will be documentaries. Our professors give us this assignments that go watch this movie. It has some tort law things in it. So one of our tort law professor actually advised us to watch Pati Patni or Wo, the movie, because it has some contract law connection to it. So you're getting it. So the teaching method is very different. And I think this is something that you get only in NLUs, because the faculty that of course that comes from the amazing faculty. And third is I'd like to emphasize this a little more, is the alumni network. Amazing alumni network, guys. So and the whole atmosphere of the college. So मैं यहाँ पे अभी almost 4 months अभी I've not been to campus ना, मैं कभी Bangalore endless गई नहीं हूँ अभी. I've just attended online classes. So instead उसके बावजूद I feel that that intellectual company. I feel कि मेरे आसपास के लोग are actually intellectual mind, and I also should be interested, or I also need to work for that. So there are different competitions going on. They are like the whole atmosphere is all like it's competitive, and also it's inspiring to see people doing such amazing stuff. So one of our professors last trimester, some of you might have heard his name. He's a Jessup Professor Rag Yadav. He's a Jessup winner. So Jessup जो competition है वो दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा moot court competition है, and he was the best speaker. And he's also an alumni of NLS, and he's the best speaker. He was the best speaker in the world's biggest moot competition. So when you interact with such professors, you instantly feel that gratitude. You instantly feel that inspiration, rushing through your veins. And I think that also like plays well. So the faculty, the teaching method, and the alumni network and atmosphere. These three things are the bonus for me. Yeah.
Okay, so in short, they get you the theory quite simplified,
Yeah.
the theory of the law. And what are the timings of the college?
Not exactly theory, So, and again, like this is one thing that I've noticed, and again, our professors also say this, that Baki law college mein they'll tell you, what they'll teach you is कि law ये है, this is the rule, constitution में ये लिखा हुआ है. But in our colleges, most of the NLUs, this happens. They tell you कि constitution में अगर ये लिखा हुआ है तो ये क्यों लिखा हुआ है? What was the reasoning behind it? So it's an in-depth analysis sort of thing. Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, Nidhi. Just go on.
No, I was on that point only, and I was asking what's the timing of the college? Like,
So, yeah, so अभी हमारी classes होती है सुबह 8 बजे से लेके शाम दोपहर के 3 बजे तक. But उसके बाद भी काफ़ी सारी चीज़ें होती हैं because हमारे अभी projects, so हम लोग को अभी हर trimester रिसर्च पेपर सबमिशंस रहते हैं, जिसमें हम लोग को एक टॉपिक दिया जाता है, उसके ऊपर हम लोग को रिसर्च करके लिखना रहता है. कुछ नया नॉवल प्रेजेंट करना रहता है, तो वो रिसर्च पेपर के लिए हम लोग आफ्टर क्लास भी प्रोफेसर्स के साथ इंटरैक्ट विद देम. So yeah, so थोड़ा extend हो जाता है, कभी कभी we have debates going on till like 12 in the morning or like 1 in the morning, debate practices and stuff. So yeah, it's like वो fix schedule 8 to 3 है, लेकिन वो आगे भी extend होता रहता है कभी कभी.
Right, all right. Yeah, guys, anyone else?
How much time did it take for your preparation?
So
I think Kajal, you have answered this question, right?
yeah, so like on a daily basis I've answered. It was like I used to spend almost 6 to 8 hours, excluding the mocks.
For how many
so
months?
for 1 hour preparation,
No.
sorry, 1 year preparation, or you did after your boards for 2 to 3 months?
No, I did after my boards. So I started from March and I.
Yes,
Yeah?
continue.
Sorry, I'm so
No,
sorry.
Continue.
Yeah, so I started from March and the exam was in, I believe, in September or October. So yeah, that much time span, almost 5 to 6 months.
Okay, so if we start from 1 year preparation, approximately 2 to 3 hours daily.
Nidhi, you are not audible.
Yes. Now I'm audible?
Yeah.
So if we start from 1 year preparation to approximately 2 to 3 hours daily.
Yeah, so listen, I think it's all about consistency, right? So yeah, 2 to 3 hours is a good time to start with, but gradually try to increase it, right? So I did, it was like a stint for me. So I actually spent a lot of time. So start with 2 to 3 hours and gradually try to increase it to like up to 4 or 5 hours or something like that. I understand, I completely understand it can be difficult with given the school schedule and all of that. But you'll have to like try to increase your concentration span, and again just connecting it to some other point. So this is again a very important stuff, guys. So what happened was कि आपको सिर्फ पढ़ाई से ज़्यादा, so the competitive exams are something that actually have a lot of factors at play. So when I went to the exam center on the D-Day of my CLAT exam, it was like my whole situation was horrible because it was a very sunny and hot day. And वो सेंटर के सामने इतनी बड़ी लाइन होती है, you'll have to wait under the sun, it's blazing hot, the sun is so super hot, and you'll have to stand under it. वो भी बैठने की कोई जगह नहीं है, पूरी गाड़ियां रखी हुई है, लोग लाइन बना के खड़े हुए हैं, and you'll have to stand into that for like 2 to 3 hours if you so मेरा सेंटर काफी दूर है मेरे घर से था, मतलब घर से, तो मेरे को इतनी देर तक खड़े रहना पड़ा था. And when I entered the center, so I have like थोड़ा सा ऐसे मेरे को सन से प्रॉब्लम होती है. सो जैसे ही मैं सेंटर के अंदर गई, मेरे को थोड़ा सा वो थोड़ा सा ऐसे बिट ऑफ हेडेक एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट, थोड़ा कंफ्यूजिंग लग रहा था. तो प्लीज have these factors in mind, क्योंकि जितनी एफिशिएंसी से आप अभी घर पे बैठ के मॉक्स दे रहे हैं, प्लीज डू नॉट थिंक कि वहां पे डी-डे पे भी आप उतनी प्रोडक्टिव और उतनी कंसंट्रेशन के साथ दे पाएंगे अपना एग्जाम. थोड़ा सा इसलिए आपको एक्स्ट्रा प्रिपरेशन करना चाहिए उसके लिए. प्लीज ड्रिंक इनफ वाटर ऑन द डी-डे, और प्लीज धूप के अंदर के नीचे तो बिल्कुल मत खड़े रहिएगा. जहाँ पे थोड़ी जगह मिली, प्लीज स्टैंड देयर और सिट इन योर कार और समथिंग लाइक दैट. So please don't be a fool like me. I actually made that mistake and थोड़ी सी गड़बड़ हो गई थी उसके कारण. But these factors also play a role.
Guys, one last question. Then Kajal के अपने homework and assignments भी है, so we should let her free. एक last question हम लेकर के we'll end this session. Anyone?
So for admission, I have to do extracurricular activities as well. Like, is just CLAT enough or some more activities are?
Yeah, so for analysts, like if you're asking, and that's like what I can talk about given the situation. So analyst may you don't really need any extracurricular activities. You just like they give you admission on the basis of your CLAT score. But I'll tell you what, Hriday, this is an important question because you know even if you're अभी आपको admission के लिए जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी co-curriculars में, but if you enter the university, there's so much competition out here that you need to have certain extracurricular skills. Academics don't suffice you guys. I'm telling you, you need to like. It's not compulsory, of course. There are people जो कि ये सब नहीं करते हैं और फिर भी they have made a place in the college. But if you want to like utilize the complete facilities that are being given in college, आपको आना चाहिए ये सब. You should be interested. If you're not good at it, it's okay. But try to like improve your communication skills. Try to indulge in some small debating MUNs and stuff. थोड़ा बहुत ये you can do it. And अगर if you're not like अभी उतना नहीं है तो after entering college you should definitely try this out. It's very fun और बहुत मजा आता है debating, mooting. So I personally enjoy debating a lot. So all of these you should definitely try. And if you are into music, sports and all of that, so yeah, it definitely helps. क्योंकि यहाँ पे हमारे यहाँ पे committees होती है. So they take you on the basis of your extracurricular skills only. So if you want to be a part of community and do well in the college life, then definitely try to build on, take small steps to build on these skills.
All right. So Kajal, tons of thanks to you on behalf of every aspirants. You have motivated them all, right? Ultimately, we get to know, everyone, each of us get to know that it takes something more than others to crack and get into this top-notch level, right? So guys, the most important thing, we have discussed all the aspects of your preparation. The most important thing is you have to keep yourself focused and motivated, nothing more than that, right? Okay. So Kajal, once again, on behalf of everyone, thank you, thanks a lot. Okay. कभी और आगे मौका मिलेगा तो हम जरूर इस तरह के और सेशंस.
Sir, I'm so sorry. One last question. It just clicked my mind now.
Questions complete नहीं हुए. Yes, Nidhi.
One last. Yeah. So I wanted to ask.
आने वाली है Kajal.
Yes, sir?
Yeah, Nidhi, please.
So I was asking ki one con, like you said so many pros about pros about NLUs. So any such cons you find there?
Yeah, so you know what? This is a very interesting question again. Because in my view, in my experience, जो pro चीजें है ना वो con में भी convert हो सकती है. So the competition, the atmosphere that I was talking about, वो कई बार gets too toxic because people try to compare themselves with the top minds in the country. So I'm currently like I as a part of analyst get to interact with the top most rankers of the country. So it's so overwhelming to think of it like that. CLAT में जिसका all India rank 1 आया था, all India rank 2 आया था, those people are my friends now. But जब हम लोग का orientation session होता है, so the first thing they tell us, so हम लोग का orientation session 3 दिन तक चला था completely, and it was very long session. The first thing they tell us is that यहाँ पे आके अपना ranks भूल जाना please. So first thing they tell us is कि आपका all India rank 1 आया हो या आपका AIR कुछ भी आया हो, just forget it because it doesn't matter, right? So वो बोला जाता है शुरू से, but people don't pay heed to it, and there's definitely a lot of toxic competition going on. People compete, and sometimes it gets like too, heavy on your mental health sometimes. So I've also experienced this. So I actually never faced mental health issues and all of that before joining analyst. Again, after joining, as I told you, 18 घंटे screen के सामने बैठना है, and then also you are competing with so many like brilliant people who are like really amazing at whatever they are doing. So it gets toxic sometimes. The competition gets a little too much. So that is the con, I'd say. Yeah.
Fine, Nidhi.
Yeah.
Got your answer?
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
All right, Kajal. Thank you, everyone. In future also we'll be conducting such type of motivational sessions, right? अभी Kajal है, अभी Kajal next month mostly हो सकता है 2 से 3 महीने में she'll be joining her college. तो देखते हैं फ्यूचर में काजल को फिर से हम पकड़ेंगे because the way she talks it really motivates every one of you, right? ठीक है, चलिए. So that's all from this session. Thank you, bye bye. Do take care, take good care of yourself, guys. चलिए, bye.
Thanks a lot, everyone. Bye. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bless you.
Thank you. Bye.